Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1994's Reality Bites. Before we get into everything, let's do the whole Twitter and that kind of stuff. So if you want to follow me and Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. And if you want to follow the show, you could follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Kiss the Reviews. Let's get into the cast of 1994's Reality Bites. This film stars Winona Ryder as Lelaina Pierce, Ethan Hawke as Troy Dyer, Janeane Garofalo as Vickie Miner, Steve Zahn as Sammy Gray, and Ben Stiller as Michael Grates. I'll start this one off. This is, I know you think I'm 100 years old, but 1994... everything 1994 was my jam. So, like,
that was the winter of my discontent.
So, these movies, and there was a string of them at around this time, like, just like this. It was this, like, teen, angsty, high school, college, time to grow up and get a job, that kind of thing. And there's always in every one of these there's the only one thing, and this kind of takes me back to some of these other movies, like, why has everybody got to be rich and famous? Every single one of these had a music, like this super deep, like introspective musician. And he was never a cool musician, like in a rock band. It was always this acoustic, stupid bullshit, like, and he's trying to make it. It's like, you ain't Dave Matthews, bitch, okay? Stop it.
This was one of the best cliches of these types of movies, was the tortured musician trying to make it. and what I appreciate about all of them is they have all got this, like, intro to philosophy outlook on life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they think just because they heard it and can regurgitate it means they understand what everything is supposed to mean. And I mean, dude, I'm sure an actual person that understands philosophy and that kind of stuff would watch this movie and just identify Troy as the biggest bullshitter in the entire world, because he's crisscrossing different philosophical things all over the place. He's a mess.
You don't have to be a PhD philosophizer to realize that Troy's a fucking douche, okay? A self-important, self-serving douchebag who learned a couple of good... There is no difference between Troy and the running back, Omar Epps, from the program. He went to the dictionary, he learned a couple of big words, and he's stringing them together in sentences, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's an episiotomy of justice.
You were right.
We'll just dive right into this thing, man. So this movie opens with Lelaina giving her valedictorian speech at college graduation. And then we get handy cam footage shot by Lelaina with her friends on a rooftop after graduation while they drink and smoke pot and ponder life and things and talk about their next steps. And again,
if you're a child of the 90s,
yep,
this should be the moment. Like, the whole valedictorian thing, that's pretty much in any high school movie. Say anything, blah, blah, blah. So that intro is kind of benign. There's not much to it, except for she's like, I don't know. Okay, existential crisis at 18. Every 18-year-old's been there. The whole handheld camera thing and, like, the shaky flash cuts like it's the fucking Real World season 1 was so beautifully 90s. This is where, if you are a 90s child, immediately, like a fucking Proust Madeleine, should be fucking flashbacks of your childhood flashing by you at like interstate speeds, bro. It was crazy. Dude, I had 3 acid trips I haven't had since I was a sophomore.
I was going to say, I had a seizure watching this, thinking of the first season of The Real World and every Pearl Jam video I had ever seen.
Even flow.
And this is, we talked about it in at least one review we've done. This was the epic uprising of that 90s alt rock scene that was, raging against everything 80s, hair metal and all that stuff. And this was the true, like, rocket ship of I'm cry rock. Everything was about your feelings, and this is where, if you grew up in the 90s, you went to high school in the 90s, like all the girls and whatever, when they were talking like, oh my God, did you hear, have you read Eddie Vedder's lyrics? Like, they're so it touches my soul. Like, this is where all of that, and this whole opening scene, especially them on the rooftop, it just transports you back to that time. We then cut to Lainey and Troy. They're having dinner with her parents, who are divorced, and her dad gives her a gas card and his wife's old BMW as a graduation gift. Then there's this divorced parents fight at the table. And I didn't have this growing up. However, I have been a part of divorced, like I've been in the presence of divorced parents fighting. And if you're divorced, you probably don't like each other. That's the reason you're divorced. But if you truly don't like each other and you've been around one of these divorced parents fights, and you are Troy in this situation, this is the only time in this movie that I felt bad for Troy, because nobody deserves this. It is literally the most awkward situation ever.
But what he does here is amazing.
My father's dying of prostate cancer, so I don't really trouble him much for gifts.
No, it's perfect.
And I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi. Anybody stuck in an awkward situation like Troy is here, where you are thrust upon as the middle person all of a sudden, where they're going to focus all their argument and bullshit on you, like right or wrong in their entire universe hedges on your answer. Even if your father is 100% healthy, even if the subject they are discussing is 100% healthy, this is where you have permission to be like, oh yeah, so-and-so has cancer, so I don't really get into it. Make everyone else at the table feel as shitty and awkward as they just made you feel. This is where you have permission to do that. I would even go so far as to say AIDS.
Yeah. This is I always find this type of situation a perfect time for me to bring up that I was molested by a priest. So I mean, but pick your own story. Like, discuss whatever you want to discuss. But yeah, it's a good time to bring that stuff up to the table,
Yeah, I mean, not to get all queer eye on you, but put your own little zhuzh on
it. We then hear cut to life after graduation for Lainey and her friends. Lainey has a job on a talk show hosted by Frasier's dad, and basically gets abused on set throughout all of the shots of her at work.
How many movies and TV shows are we going to watch where John Mahoney's playing a dick?
He does it so well, though.
Yeah, I don't know them. I never knew the man. I've never heard anybody speak of the man in any regard whatsoever.
Nope.
So my question to you, John Mahoney files out there, was he really a dick?
I don't know. I've seen a couple interviews. He seems like one of the nicest men ever. But my God, you put him on camera and you're like, you're a dick. And action.
Either way, he's a great actor, because he's either pulling one over on the news anchors who are interviewing him, and he's just like, look at me, I'm Shirley Temple. And then he's like, fuck you, in his real life, and just carries that over to camera. Or he's a great actor who is super duper nice and also can play a complete psychopath on camera.
There you go.
Much like Armando does on Kiss the Reviews every week.
One day, while driving with Vickie, Lainey flicks her cigarette into Michael's car while he's on his car phone conducting business. and he swerves, he hits her car, and they go back to his office to discuss the accident, and he ends up dropping the whole thing and just asking her out instead.
And this is very much, again, a very like 90s 19 to 22-year-old thing to do, where you kind of get in an accident and you guys are so all trying to be adults and you have jobs and stuff and things. And then you're just like, I don't know what to do next. Do you have a lawyer? Because my lawyer said lawyer stuff to me and I should lawyer you.
Okay.
And she's
Can
like,
I
I don't
just-
have a lawyer. I don't have a dentist.
So
Freaking amazing.
which is a great line, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to, like, I know with these high dollar requests, we like to share some deep dark secrets and things. This scene sticks out to me 30 years later. As in 1994, like, I was driving, I was getting into college, and I literally thought, because they never talked about insurance in this scene. It was like, I got a lawyer, here's my lawyer's card, do you have a lawyer? And we could I was like, when you get into an accident, you got to call a lawyer? I was like, listen, at the accident scene, you call the cops, you get the insurance agents on the phone, and that's, you exchange insurance information, and then you kind of go on your merry way, and the insurance company takes care of all that. As an adult, I know that now. But back then, and for the longest time, I was like, God, I hope I never get into an accident because I don't have a lawyer. I thought you had to get lawyers involved in all of this shit.
Uh-oh. We got a moron here. Is that it?
After getting back home, Vickie tells Lainey that Troy got fired from his newsstand job and is moving in with them in their little shitty apartment. And Lainey continues here throughout the middle of this movie. She continues to film her documentary. It's now focused on interviewing Troy after he moves in and her friends as they hang out and smoke pot. And this is what now kind of bothers me. First of all, you have Lainey walking through life with this liberal arts confidence that I've never seen on anybody. She was the valedictorian in college.
Yeah.
Did they go to like an art school? Because I don't see like a documentary filmmaker major, TV major being the valedictorian. Like, that typically goes to somebody with a different major.
Yeah, with a longer name.
But what
Indian?
What could have been more true was she immediately finds a job in TV, right? Like, right out of college, fresh out of college. She's not making money. I think you did this. I think I did this. Fresh out of college, radio, TV jobs, like right out of school. And it's like, oh my God, you're getting paid nothing because you're a peon at whatever station you're working at.
Yep.
But these other kids, Vickie and Troy and Sammy, they all have degrees, but Vickie's managing at the Gap. Troy works at a newsstand. And do we know what Sammy does outside of like managing Troy's band, maybe? Like, I don't really know what Sammy actually does for a living in this movie.
Sammy seems to be just trying to figure shit out, but also the one who like has the most normal life going on.
Yeah.
Like, he never has any kind of problems other than he's in the closet, we find out. I mean, as the movie's gone on through and through. But I mean, other than that, which I'm not saying that's light, but saying, other than that, he's the most well-adjusted fucking person in the group.
But
he's just scared to tell his parents.
Yeah, but you don't know that until the very end. So, like, if you're watching this through for the first time, you're just like, you're literally like, he's the most well-adjusted person out of this whole crew. You don't, until really late third act, like, you find out that he's coming out to his mom and whatever.
They make one sort of comment at the very beginning when they're on the roof, passing the camera around, and it can be taken one of two ways. Like, he's a virgin, so everybody thinks he's gay.
Yes.
Or because
know.
he's gay, they're
Yeah.
teaching him about being with women and how they're going to convert him.
Yeah.
But it's so, I don't want to say cryptic, but it's just kind of like such a blanket, kind of wet blanket of a fucking conversation or a term.
Exactly.
That you get no indication.
Yeah, but the rest of this movie kind of shakes out as, you know, just they're living together and they're getting into roommate fights and friend fights like you would normally get into. Like one night, the friends are all hanging out and drinking. Michael comes over to take Lainey out. They go out. And when he gets there, these are the scenes that I really like because Ben Stiller does a very good job. If there's one skill that Ben Stiller has, it's acting awkward in front of a group of people. And every single scene when he comes to pick Lainey up, it could be a group of people like it is here where he's doing the awkward Ben Stiller thing, or it's just him and Troy. And he just doesn't really know. He doesn't have like the interpersonal skills to like, he's got a big time job and he can do business. But the minute it's like one-on-one, he immediately falls apart. And you see this when he takes Lainey to dinner too. Because the whole thing's awkward.
Yep. He is an absolute, he looks like he has it all together, but he's just a fucking train wreck of pretend. I have no idea who I really am as a person yet, let alone starting a fucking career. And dude, it's so awkward because I've been the guy who's walked in to pick up a girl on a date and literally an entire room full of roommates are playing a drinking game and they're like 6 in and you haven't been drinking yet or doing it. So you're just like, fuck. Yep. It's so weird. You're like, oh, mashed potatoes, huh? Need some gravy? It's just like there's nothing. It's terrible.
You were right.
These scenes are so good. And this is what the theme is throughout this entire movie. This is one of the most realistic movies I have seen, mainly because just of like how this is when I grew up. This is when my older sister, who's closest to me, was really going through like the later stages of the finding a job and being fired and finding a job and becoming manager of something that you were way overqualified to be manager of, but still being psyched. And even like that feeling like as when Janeane Garofalo comes home and she's like, I am the manager of the Gap now. I'm making $400 a week. And Winona Ryder's like, oh, we're never going to have to worry about rent again. Dude, been there. Both sides of it. It's fucking hysterical seeing this.
It's great.
I can't say enough good things about all of this movie.
I'm not really good with compliments.
And here's another really good thing. So you got Ben Stiller as being super awkward here at the place, at dinner. And it's not until him and Lainey are actually sitting in his car after going and getting like big gulps at 7-Eleven, which couldn't have been more 90s ever, when they actually start to really talk, where things like start to get a little bit more comfortable. They're joking around together. And then they end up having sex in the back of his car as Troy walks by, sees them. And then when Lainey goes back into the house, Troy and her get into an argument over the whole situation, you know, because Troy's the deep brooding rocker or whatever, which Ethan Hawke does such a good job with this role. Like, it's amazing. But again, I think we've all also been there too. There's so many parts of this movie where it's like, I've been there, that's happened. So relatable. And the whole, your friend is dating or sleeping with a guy, but you like the friend, like this whole like love triangle thing is so, and especially for that age, is so incredibly relatable.
100%.
But we also here get more of Lainey filming her documentary, and she interviews Troy about his dad, and then she follows Vickie into the free clinic to get the AIDS test. There are these little shots, like go back to nonverbal acting, where like Vickie's in the free clinic and she's like, welcome to the free clinic. And she's doing her whole like Janeane Garofalo thing.
Right.
And then there's a shot of her sitting and just like rubbing her arm. And you can tell she's fucking losing her mind. Little shots like that are fucking brilliantly done.
Back then,
it was
in
a
the
death.
90s, this was as Armando was getting ready to say, this was a fucking death sentence. You were done. Unless you were Magic Johnson, you were never, if HIV was going to become AIDS and you were dead. Period. Yeah. End of discussion.
The free clinic AIDS test. The rite of passage for our generation.
In the movie, you know, Vickie goes back to just, hey, blah, 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 I'm doing whatever and yada, yada. And then it cuts back to towards the end where she has the conversation with Lainey in the diner. And she's like, I'm fucking petrified. Like, I could be literally dying right now talking. Like, this whole, that plot of that part of the plot of this movie is fucking, they did such a good job with it.
Yeah, no, they really did. Like, and I never really had that kind of scare because, like, when I was 13, my mom worked for an OBGYN and was basically like, if you start having sex, I will just bring you home condoms because we are not having a fucking child run around this house. And so it was like, dope, that makes a lot of sense. So when I was like, yo, I think I'm about to bang, my mom was like, dope, here's a bunch of rubbers, enough to make a fucking tire company. And so when I had the test, I was clean. And then I never got tested again until I was like 30. And by then it was like, one, I'm 30. Anybody over 30 can't get AIDS. It's impossible. And two, I knew like a condom is not 100% guarantee to not get AIDS. So I'm just like, I'm raw dogging it anyway. Fuck it.
God. Well, hey, listen, I'm glad your mom and your parents were so super supportive of your sex life and proactive about things. The sex talk that I got was at about 20, 21 years old. Okay. It was a few years too late. We'll just say that. And this is kind of how it went. Hey, I'm going over my girl's place and my dad, this is not even close to being a fucking lie. He looked at me and he goes, Arma, no do the things you know supposed to do. That was my sex talk at about 20 years old. So I was like, cool story, bro. I'm going to go bang one out. There you go.
We had very different childhoods.
Very different childhoods. So we then cut to Troy and Lainey. They go for a walk and he tries to make her feel better because she gets fired from her job after she writes crazy questions on Frasier's dad's cue cards for his show.
Personally, I've always had an odd preference for very, very young girls.
He tries to make her feel better about her situation, and then he kisses her and she pushes away. So now we have that situation happening.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, tortured, unrequited love artists that read Kierkegaard. Uncle Corey here. When the your love interest comes home, the person you have been pining over all these years quietly comes home, and they're like, oh my God, I got fired and I think I fucked up, and you're making them feel better and you're actually doing a good job. That is not your green light to dump your relationship on her. Wait.
Yes.
Let her have a day. Give them some fucking space to breathe. And then when they're like, thank you so much for helping me, it really meant a lot, that's when you can be like, yeah, I would do anything for you because I'm in love with you. And then maybe try and go in for the kiss. But wait 24 hours, especially if they've been fired because they torpedoed their entire career.
if you can't wait to get it out, oh my God, I'm so excited to tell you. 24 hours. Just sleep, have a jerk and a cry, and then sleep on it, and then come back the next day and see how you feel.
Yep. Or jerk and a skip if you're super excited about your opportunity. Throw one out and then go for a skip down the road. It's a lot of fun.
We also cut to Michael and Lainey at his place where he tells her he's going to pitch her documentary to some network meetings that he has coming up in New York. We then see Lainey interviewing at a bunch of different production companies and finally at the Houston Chronicle. None of the interviews work out. And she goes to tell Troy at the diner. Troy gets all in his feelings and he leaves because her bravado is embarrassing.
Your bravado is embarrassing.
Which it was a little bit.
Okay. Yes, I'll agree. But I'm going to do a quick don't do that here.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, fucking sensitive musicians out there that, didn't wait the 24 hours and just decided, and he didn't even decide to say, I'm in love with you and blah, blah. He just kind of went in for the bang kiss. Okay, first of all, don't do that. Wait your 24 hours. You've already, as they say in the biz, shot your wad, okay? You don't get to be upset here. You can, and if you are, you keep it to yourself. You didn't wait the 24 hours, dude. You just jumped on top of it. Like, you're not, yes, is her bravado embarrassing? Absolutely it is. And you're 100% right. But you don't get to say that here. So don't do that.
No, because also she's 100% right.
Yes.
You are embarrassed because of the kiss.
Yes.
So while she is being kind of assholic with how she's approaching you, because I would be, if I'm going to put on my little Troy hat right here, I'd say, no, Troy, her being so obtuse about the situation is what is embarrassing. Because she's acting like nothing ever happened. It's fucking day fucking 2 of our friendship. Let's talk about me again. And it's like, no, bitch, some shit happened. We have to talk about it.
Yep.
So
And
overall, fuck both of you and swallow your fucking pride and sit there. Sometimes,
Exactly.
look, sometimes when you take a shot, you miss.
Yeah.
You don't quit playing basketball because of that. You go back out and you fucking shoot another shot.
Absolutely.
Back in our day, Craig, all we needed was these.
You win some, you lose some.
But you live. You live to fight another day.
And by the way, did you just call me obtuse?
What did you call me? Obtuse. Is it deliberate?
We got them all coming. All the references are coming out now.
Lainey then goes into this downward spiral, and it culminates in her racking up a $400 phone bill with Miss Cleo, and Vickie confronts her about it.
When we moved from Arizona to Ohio, I think I was bored one night and called a phone sex line, the old 1-900 lines.
Aww.
And then I was like, oh shit. Only I didn't dump my problems on them. I dumped my loads on them. So, a little bit different. It didn't quite take $400 worth for me to just get all the poison out. But
yeah, it was like $13.75. Your mom was
there
like,
was a lot.
What's that call? I called the Nintendo Power Hotline, Mom. I was looking for secrets to Zelda. And
I always forget. Is it up, down, left, right, or right, left? I don't remember.
I definitely wasn't whacking it on the phone, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't call them back.
See, once again, I was too scared of my parents to do anything like that because I would have gotten beat with a wooden spoon. So instead, I would just go to the Scrambled Spice channel and maybe see a tit, and that's how I got it done. So Lainey goes to her parents. They're unwilling to help her with the money. So after her father tells her to show him some ingenuity, she uses his gas card to buy groceries, to buy people's gas for cash, to pay back Vickie, which, by the way, this isn't a don't do that. This is a totally do that. Because your dad, listen, I know you got yourself into this bullshit and you're calling fucking, call me now for your free tarot reading. But so you got yourself into the mess. But also, from the beginning scene at dinner to this scene here, your dad's kind of a dick. So go ahead and use that gas card and make that money. And by the way, She only racks up $900 worth of charges. I would have taken that motherfucker for at least $6,000.
Hell yes.
No, this is like also one of the best things when you're depressed is a good scheme.
Yes.
Because whether it's Sunny, this show, fucking this gas scheme she's running, it's all brilliant. And it all pops everybody out of their depression immediately.
Yep.
And like, I mean, dude, like literally, I went out after I saw this movie and I applied for a shell card. And this is not bullshitting you, not even a joke. I applied for a shell card because of this movie. And I didn't do the gas scheme. I just bought food. I lived off of gas station food for years.
That's the way to do it. That's the way
My first credit card was a Shell credit card.
You went out and got a shell card. I was looking for a fucking lawyer in case I got into an accident.
Again, it's very different lives.
So, after getting into a fight with Troy at their place, Lainey and Vickie go to a diner for coffee and cigarettes. And this is where Vickie shares with Lainey that she's scared. She could possibly be dying of AIDS. She's all alone. And you have this very like serious moment. And again, going back to some of the like very 90s things of it all, coffee and cigarettes was like a staple. Thanks, Camel, because now I'm addicted to cigarettes well past the time you should have fucking quit. But again, neither here nor there. I didn't smoke because of this movie, but goddamn, I did the very 90s thing and I was smoking my ass off.
I don't think it was this movie that made me smoke, but the 90s were rife. Like, this is what the 90s and smoking is why smoking got banned everywhere else.
Yes.
Because that's all fucking people did was go into restaurants and bars and just smoke it out until it looked like the fucking smoke lounge at the Atlanta airport.
While at the diner, Lainey gets a call from Michael, who tells her that he pitched her documentary at the network, even though she told him not to, and they loved it, and they want to buy it. I have a quick question about Michael, because not only here, like, cell phones weren't really a thing. I think I had a cell phone, but it was like that don't call me until after 7 p.m. kind of plan. He's like Tupac in Above the Rim, where he just finds Lainey wherever. This motherfucker pops up. She's at a goddamn diner. He calls the diner's business phone to talk to her. Later on in the movie, she's out wherever the fuck and he just kind of like pops up again. And when she's at the bar to go see Troy.
Yep.
And it's like him and Tupac had a conversation. He was like, listen, this is how you follow these motherfuckers. Like, he pops up everywhere, and I have no idea how the fuck he finds her in all these locations.
No, it's amazing. But you're right, he does. He has got a tracker on her or some kind of 90s technology we were unaware of.
This here is where Michael shows up to get Lainey to take her to like the premiere of her documentary. And Michael and Troy get into it. And Michael doesn't have the, I don't know, mental capacity. I don't want to say intelligence, because he is intelligent in certain ways, but he just doesn't have the mental capacity. And I don't think many people do, to fight the dictionary reading Troy and his bullshit. Because all he does is spin you around in circles.
Well, that's it. He uses words until he finds one that you don't know, and then he tries to ridicule you about that one thing you don't know. It's textbook shit talking. Do better, Troys. You're rookies.
Exactly.
Welcome to the real world, jackass. This is the fucking Thunderdome here, bitch.
And Michael does what he should do here, because he already knows, like, fuck this guy. So they bounce, they go to this premiere. And at the premiere, they play the sizzle reel for the documentary, which basically looks like the real world. Like it
looked like my freshman announcements in high school.
Yeah. which they show because before this, they have the interview with Sammy outside of his house, and he had just told his mom and came out of the closet to her. So they kind of, it was really weird. They kind of put this in the sizzle reel, and it's like, Pizza Hut, duh. And then it's just like, and I just told my mom I'm gay. Pizza, like it was just like placed in there. And it was like, Jesus Christ. Like even MTV had a little bit of fucking like sensitivity to some shit.
The answer is pizza.
This is what I didn't understand about it was, they're like, this is going to be the hot new direction that in-your-face TV's going.
Yes.
And it's like, pizza, real world, Shell gas cards, Pizza Hut, real world, welcome, I like abortions, pizza. And it's like, yo, what the fuck?
Pizza!
You know, they take this thing and they just bastardize. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, and if you grew up in the 90s, you were part of that first generation that really realized that this is all networks do. They take real art, whether it's music or documentaries or whatever, and they bastardize art to make money.
Yes. And
What
I would
can
like
you
to say,
do?
I would like to say to all streaming services and networks out there, hi guys, Uncle Corey here. Bastardize our art.
Oh, listen, with that said, I'm 100% game. I am a whore for this. Like, you could totally bastardize whatever you want. Am I making money? Like, and again, in movies, you can tell. If there's like a weird thing that you're like, why is that in there? Why is there a gopher in Caddyshack? There's a suit somewhere that said, I think we should put a gopher in Caddyshack, or I think we should do this in this movie. There's a spider in this movie, or there's, you know, vampires are a big thing. Can we put a vampire in this? When you see stuff like that, that's what we're talking about. Somebody wrote a script that was probably pretty good to great, and they went, yeah, we're totally making this movie. But you know what's really big right now? Robots. Can we throw a robot in this thing? And now there's a robot in your really great script. And that's just how that fucking business works.
Pizza!
I understand the artist's anger in that. But also, like Corey said, if you want to give me money, do what you want, bastardize the shit out of it. I know what I originally wrote, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm an artist until capitalism comes into play, and then I'm 100%. A
100%.
capitalist.
If I could buy my house outright, bastardize the shit out of my stuff. I don't care. Later that night, Troy comes home and asks Lainey how the premiere went. She tells him how disappointed she is about the documentary, what happened there, just her life in general, where it's going. And he tells Lainey that he loves her here, and they make out, and then they make sweet, sweet love. And then the next morning, Troy wakes up early and dips.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, sweet, sweet love makers. Uncle Corey here. Eye contact is okay intermittently or one time for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then eye contact stops. It's like, you know how in a video game, you have a pause. And sometimes that pause has a timer. And once the timer's up, you make a no more pause. That's what eye contact is in sex. There's a timer on it. And once the timer's up, you make a no more eye contact. You flip it over, do doggy. That's how you do.
Whatever it is that you're doing and you're making eye contact, you're right. But again, there's a time limit on it because it goes from this is hot, this is us connecting, this is, oh my God, he knows me, I know him, all that stuff. Until it's not. It is that. And then all of a sudden it's like, he might murder me and throw me in his basement. Like there's that cliff, and it's not very long.
Nope.
And
like
FYI,
I said, you got
5 seconds is a fucking eternity if you're just staring at somebody, not making any noises or talking.
That's the entire sex for me. We're done.
After this, we get the scene at the bar at Troy's gig. Lainey shows up. Vickie and Sammy already know about her and Troy. Michael shows up here. He apologizes. And then we get the whole blow up with Lainey. Troy then pulls like the sidebar and basically tells her that he doesn't want to lose her and he knows he's a piece of shit, but she needs to just be with him and stick it out.
I might do mean things, and I might hurt you, and I might run away without your permission, and you might hate me forever. And I know that that scares the shit out of you because I'm the only real thing that you have.
You're saying like, oh, you want to control me. That's all. I'm not going to be one of your little toys you can control. What are you talking about, you fucking drama queen? Nobody's trying to control. She's asking to be treated like a person and like a fucking child. You actually figured, oh shit, I can't talk her into a circle over this because I know I'm right. Yep. So I'm going to throw a tantrum. And then when that doesn't work, I'm going to say some horribly hurtful shit to just completely blow up everybody's fucking spot tonight.
Yep. 100%.
Dude, I love Ethan Hawke as an actor. He's an incredibly talented individual.
Absolutely.
And it is demonstrated here because I loathed him.
Yes.
And yet still, I wanted them to be together. I'm like, whatever you do, just don't end up with Michael. Like, God damn it.
At the end, you were like, oh my God, I'm so happy it worked out.
I was. No. And fuck you for making fun of that. You know what? Love exists. You cynical cock.
Only in your fucking head. Lainey runs out of the bar here. Michael and Troy go chasing after her. They have a little back and forth. And then we get this like montage of Lainey not being able to find Troy. She finally finds out he's in Chicago. And as she's leaving her place, Troy shows up, lets her know that he was in Chicago because his dad died. They cry, hug, and kiss it out. And then it crossfades into what looks like them like being packed up and moving out of that place of theirs. And they're on the couch and playing around, and the answering machine picks up with her dad asking about the $900 worth of gas charges on the gas card. So, and that's where we get the credits and whatnot. But dude, I could have done without it was funny, the whole $900 thing. It was kind of like the end of
it was a callback.
Yeah, it was kind of the end of Home Alone 2. But, and I think that's why I didn't like it this time around, because I was like, had Home Alone 2 vibes. But no, overall, dude, front to back, I mean, this was, I'll venture to say, our childhoods, even though we've established our childhoods were vastly different. But at this age, in this time, this movie came out, it was directed towards us in our age group, like that young Gen X, old millennial, like right in that sweet spot right there. And it was a fucking home run. And I don't know if this was the first or the second. I don't know the order that they all came out, but this was a fucking home run.
Oh yeah. Like this was fantastic. I like this way more than I like movies like Singles, because Singles seem to focus more on like, like the music of the age and like the attitude, where this actually captured more real people in this stage of their life and trying to figure it out. And again, the writing is so realistic. The acting is so fantastic. Everybody is believable as their characters. Steve Zahn, which we barely touched on, coming out to his parents at the end and that not going very well.
Yeah.
Dude, that was heartbreaking. Because especially in the 90s, that was so fucking prevalent before anybody really understood what just being gay was.
Yeah.
It was very much a thing to come out to your parents.
Yeah.
So that was heartbreaking. the movie overall, I hadn't seen this in so long. And it's kind of the thing we've discussed in some of the other movies we watch, whereas if I catch it halfway through, I'll totally sit down and watch it, but I also know everything that's coming up by heart. I know everything it's like once you see it for a second on TV, you know everything that's going to happen if you've ever seen it before.
Yeah.
So I just really don't watch it a lot if I see it on. So
yeah,
watching it this go round, I was so impressed with it. It like skyrocketed into one of my favorite movies of this time. I just don't have enough good things to say about it. It was fantastic. I think everybody should go watch this, and it is one of the truest interpretations of the 90s I've seen.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with you 100%. I don't know if everybody can hear, but it's 4th of July time, and there's goddamn fireworks going on. And okay, here's a quick don't do that. Totally not on the review or anything, but
Don't do that, it's not good for ya.
hi, fucking assholes, fucking yay America. That's fine, but how about you stop lighting fireworks on goddamn June 30th through July 3rd? That's not a thing. Don't do that. People, I don't know, might be trying to record movie reviews and shit. That's it.
I just live in a horrible neighborhood, and there is a vicious firefight happening outside.
After living through many horrible neighborhoods in my life, I can tell the difference between fireworks and gunshots. So that's some things you learn as you get older. So, but that's all I got for this. Do you have anything else?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1994's Reality Bites.